Welcome back to The Explainer. Today we're tearing into the mobile game Vivoxis. Now, if you think this is just another casual idle game where you mindlessly tap your screen to level up, you're definitely missing the bigger picture. Vivoxis is actually a remarkably deep simulation rooted in real, hardcore evolutionary biology. We're talking about a game where your overarching strategy determines whether your organisms absolutely thrive or simply hit an evolutionary dead end. To dominate this game, you really have to start thinking like nature.
Okay, let's dive into this and lay out our roadmap for today. We're going to cover the linear evolution myth, the science of the branching tree, mapping the species tree, the strategic paths you missed, and finally, the mythical endgame strategy. Starting right off with Section 1, the linear evolution myth, rethinking the ladder. So let's address the single biggest mistake new players make when they boot this up. Is evolution just a straight line? Do we really just go from a single cell to a fish, then a lizard, a monkey, and boom, we finally end up at a human? Because look, if you treat Vivoxis like a traditional video game where you just climb a linear ladder to reach the final boss, you're going to waste weeks of your time and literally thousands of life coins. Think about that ladder model for a second. Rushing a straight path directly to the Tier 7 human apex is a massive rookie mistake. It takes over 60 days of total evolution time, and that's just for one single organism. Plus, it requires 7 perfect consecutive choices. But let's flip that and look at how real evolution works. The branching tree is the actual engine running inside the Vivoxis. It's all about cells diverging into dozens of equally successful niches. There are so many different paths that lead to incredible success, and fixating only on those apex predators totally blinds you to some massive opportunities. Moving to Section 2, Science of the Branching Tree, Biology and Gameplay. To really master this, we need to understand the actual science baked right into the code. The foundational concept here is speciation. In real biology, speciation happens when a population becomes isolated, adapts to a new environment, and creates a completely new branch on the tree of life. Well, in Vivoxis, this concept translates directly into unlocking multiple new species simultaneously whenever you hit a new tier. At every single branch point, you're forced to make a choice that forever alters your organism's evolutionary history. The crucial thing is how this actually plays out in your breeding pool. The Vivoxis uses Mendelian inheritance, so when you breed, the offspring's traits start as a rough average of the two parents. But there's genetic variation built in, meaning those stats are going to fluctuate. You've also got a 10% chance of a major genetic mutation dropping, which can radically shift a trait. And, looming over all of this, natural selection. Organisms with lower traits in strength, endurance, and longevity are simply going to die faster. If they die faster, they produce fewer offspring. So if you want to breed highly profitable organisms, you have to selectively breed those survivors to push those genetics upward. All right, Section 3, Mapping the Species Tree, 50+ organisms across 8 tiers. The sheer scale of the Vivoxis tree of life is honestly incredible. We're talking over 50 distinct, unique species in the game, spanning all the way from Tier 0 up to Tier 7. That means you have over 50 different terminal niches you could potentially exploit for your collection. Just look at how this builds from the very first decision you make. From your base Tier 0 cell, you immediately hit the Tier 1 domain split. You gotta choose, prokaryote or eukaryote. The prokaryote path is fast, it's simple, and it leads you quickly to terminal bacteria or archaea. But if you choose the eukaryote path, you open the door to complex multicellular life. It's your gateway to the animal and plant kingdoms, but fair warning, it requires significantly more patience. And speaking of patience, you really need to respect the massive timescales involved here. Evolving a base cell takes just 2 days. Eukaryotes take 5 days. But getting a vertebrate to become a dinosaur, that takes 12 days. And having mammals branch into primates takes a grueling 14 days. This is exactly why employing a branching strategy is just vastly more effective than agonizingly waiting 2 weeks for a primate while your game income totally stagnates. Which brings us perfectly to Section 4, Strategic Paths You Missed, focusing on high ROI detours. Let's pivot from the pure biology side into some applied gaming strategy. Here are the high ROI detours that most players completely ignore. First up, what I call the Fungus Express. A mushroom is only 4 evolution steps from a cell. By breeding 20 of them, you can create a mushroom farm that generates unbelievable early-game staking income. Next is the plant kingdom, where trees become absolute passive income monsters. Then you have the Dinosaur Detour. Not only do they look super cool, but they act as a secret source for epic mythicals. And finally, the invertebrate branch gives you incredibly cheap access to Tier 5 collection diversity. Now get this, the lifespan multiplier comparison is wild. Yes, the Tier 7 human has a 3.0x lifespan, but a simple tree, it is a 2.5x multiplier. A well-bred tree can literally live for over 300 days. You can evolve a tree in a fraction of the time it takes to grind out a human, and it's gonna effortlessly rival those top-tier organisms for set-and-forget passive income while you focus your active breeding somewhere else. It is ironically hilarious that a humble piece of flora or a tiny mushroom completely outperforms a literal T-Rex when it comes to early game ROI. The developers hit the nail on the head with this quote, and you really have to appreciate the reality check. They said, a mushroom is as evolutionarily successful as a human. It's simply adapted to a different niche. That totally reinforces our core strategic paradigm for this whole explainer. In Vivoxis, just like in the real natural world, wealth and success don't just default to the apex predator. They go to the player who actively finds and exploits diverse niches to maximize their passive staking income. Section 5, the Mythical Endgame Strategy. Unlocking the ultimate organisms. This is where all those branching choices finally beautifully pay off. Remember how I said players get tunnel vision going from mammal to primate to human? Well, here is what they miss. The Tier 6 equine branch acts as a triple mythical gateway. From one single equine source species, you can evolve a rare unicorn, a common kelpie, or an epic knuckle-a-v. If you skipped the equine branch because you are obsessed with getting apes, you are entirely locked out of these highly lucrative mythicals. So if you want to build a mythical collection efficiently, you should really follow this progression path. Step 1, start with a kitsune or a hakawai. They only cost 100 life coins and you break even in just 4 days. Easy. Step 2, target the phoenix, which is going to give you the absolute best return on investment for the rare tier. Step 3, use that dinosaur detour we talked about to evolve a dragon for massive epic tier power. And finally, step 4, take your primate and unlock Medusa, who brings a staggering 4.0x legendary lifespan multiplier to the table. Now, why go through all this effort to branch out and collect all 20 mythicals? Because of this number right here, 180,000. That is the staggering lifetime value in life coins of a complete mythical collection. Your total investment is about 5,300 life coins, meaning you break even in just 7.5 days. After that, your diverse ecosystem just prints money. Almost 720 life coins a day for you. Evolutionary diversity literally pays massive dividends. And honestly, that is the true beauty of how Vivoxis mirrors evolutionary biology. A thriving ecosystem isn't just one apex species. It's a vast, branching web of highly specialized organisms. So, I'll leave you with this provocative thought. Knowing that the most lucrative strategy is to diversify, and with over 50 branches on the tree of life just waiting to be unlocked, what will your evolutionary story be? It might just be time to rethink your next move and start building that mushroom farm. Thanks for joining me on this explainer, and I'll catch you on the next one.